Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, and this is your weekly quick tip. Today, we're going to be talking about the differences between a cover letter, a CV, a resume, and a couple of other things. So, hopefully, this will clear up some confusion that you may have and help you better understand what employers are looking for. So let's get started. Let's start with the resume and the CV, okay? Resume is generally one page. It summarizes your recent and relevant experiences. So you want to tailor it specifically for whatever you are applying for. Um, Things that may be recent but not as relevant, we may take out or not go as much detail into, but it really changes depending on the application and what's going to be most beneficial for you to highlight to the employer. It's generally used for US job applications, but it always includes obviously your name and contact information, but also your education, relevant work experience, and other skills that may be most beneficial for an employer to see. Now, your curriculum vitae or your CV can be as long as needed, okay? So it can be 2 pages, 3 pages, 11 pages, whatever it needs to be. And it generally remains static, so it doesn't change even though you're applying for different things. It shares all of your information, it's extremely thorough. And it's primarily used when you're looking for jobs in academia, so being a professor or a research assistant, and also the international job search. So a lot of times in Europe and Asia, you'll be using a CV. It gives a much more in-depth view of who you are. So it includes a lot more than your resume. It may include all of your education, all of your relevant courses, all of your research projects. Um, any conferences you attended or presentations that you've done, different honors that you've received, and an in-depth look at your involvement. So everything that you've done community service-wise or your involvement on campus, even if it's not directly related to what you are applying for, it's still included because your CV encompasses everything. Now, your cover letter is an introduction to the job candidate. Okay, so if you're using a CV or a resume, this is really a time where you can tailor it for each position. Even in your CV, where you're talking about everything, you're going to want to make your cover letter very specific. Um, talk about why you're interested in that particular opportunity or that particular company. It emphasizes a lot of information that's in the resume or CV, particularly specific key points that you feel are going to be most beneficial for you to highlight. It can demonstrate intangible points. This is my passion. These are some things that I can't necessarily quantify in an experience, but I feel will be really beneficial for you as the employer to know. It's also sometimes referred to as a letter of interest. So if you see that at any point in the application process for a position, don't worry and don't be confused. Your cover letter and letter of interest are generally used interchangeably. Now, your personal statement is an entirely different document. Okay, this is used for graduate and professional school applications. It's not part of the job search process. It's usually given in one of two ways. From an admission perspective, it can either be a directive, talk about this specific point of interest or research, this is what you have to write about, or it can be open. They can just say, send us a personal statement, and you get to choose what you write about. It may have different requirements for length and formatting, so always make sure you read your admission information really thoroughly so that you can make sure you're meeting all of the qualifications and the requirements for your personal statement. And of course, should always be tailored to the opportunity. So why this specific program? Why this specific college or university? What are your goals as a result of being admitted to their program? So just like the cover letter and your resume, this should be specific to what you're applying for. And to wrap up, no matter what document you're writing, make sure it matches your audience, okay? So whether you are adding a little bit of creativity because you're going for a more creative graduate program or a creative industry, that's fine. But if you're going for something very traditional, then you don't want a lot of color or design. So make sure you're really understanding what you're applying for and where and what their perspective is to make sure that the information you're presenting best matches them. Always, always, always proofread and have someone else proofread it too. If you email your documents to elcdc@albright.edu, we're happy to look at it for you and give you feedback. And of course, the ELCDC has plenty of other resources as well. Check out our website and Handshake to get different insights on what to include in your personal statement. What are some different styles of resume you can use? So definitely check those out, and we are happy to help you. Have a great week.